Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas, and my pronouns are she and hers. I'd like to extend a special welcome. Many of you were in attendance, but many of you might not have known there was a conference this weekend that we were part of hosting, the Southwest UU Women's Conference, and many people have joined us here this morning before they head back to the many places from whence they came. So welcome to all of you. It's marvelous to see you again. I do have one announcement that I would like to make before we get started, which I left right here. Because it's important, and I want to really emphasize that it is for everyone and is part of our work in the world. This Tuesday, March 25th at 6:30 p.m., we're hosting a Know Your Rights town hall meeting here. This meeting is not just for people who are perhaps concerned with their own personal rights. It is for all of us to know what everyone's rights are so that we can be a part of solutions, not merely bystanders when we see something happening in front of us that we would like to intervene in. So there will be attorneys and knowledgeable individuals to answer questions regarding legal resources, community resources, and I wanted to, again, emphasize that this is not just for people who need to know their own individual rights. This is for all of us to know everyone's collective rights so that we can stand up when we are needed. So now let us settle in, take a deep breath, and enter this time of gathering and connection and community. The wheel of the year turns. We are once again entering spring. Many things are uncertain in this moment, but no matter what else happens, the seasons continue to change. The earth continues to move in her path year after year. We are just past the moment of poise, just barely on the other side of that ephemeral moment when day and night are in balance. We are moving into the growing light. And around these parts, that might give rise to some mixed feelings. We know the increasing sun will eventually lead to some pretty serious heat. But right now, we are glad for spring breezes. We are glad for more time outdoors. We are glad to be on patios and be in parks. Welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you have arrived here in this place this morning in body and mind and spirit, whether you're here in person, whether you're joining us online, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here this morning. If this is your first time with us, if this is your 500th time with us, you are welcome here, and we are glad that you are here. As we begin our time together, we will draw on the earth-centered traditions that are a part of Unitarian Universalism, and we will begin to build the container of sacred space by acknowledging the four directions. You come light some candles for me. Spirit of the East, Spirit of air of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises in times of beginning, in times of planting. Inspire us with the fresh breath of courage as we enter new adventures. Spirit of the South, Spirit of fire of noontime and summer, accompany us in the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us. Spirit of the West, Spirit of water of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets. Help us to enjoy rich harvests. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace. Spirit of the North, Spirit of earth of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness and the time of formation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journeys of our lives. Come and let us worship together.
Hello, I'm Joss Bisbano. My pronouns are she or they, and I'm your worship associate this morning. And Sean Bisbano has agreed to light our chalice. Thank you, Sean. We light this chalice at the beginning of spring, just as seeds rest in the soil, quietly gathering strength to grow. We gather here to prepare ourselves. Some of us have traveled far to share this sacred space. Like seeds carried by the wind, we bring different stories, yet we root here together. We till the ground of this community, honoring the wisdom of those who came before and the promise of those yet to rise. Our common ground is this: determination to nurture what matters, to tend the fragile hope of what might blossom, and to shelter each fragile reach toward tomorrow. May we rise like green life from the earth. For the ancient endless yes, we kindle this flame. And now please join together in our opening song in your teal hymnal under your seats, number 1068, Rising Green. Thank you. And now together we affirm our covenant. Oh, that's right. Okay, we don't have a slide, but in your order of service are the words of our covenant that we affirm together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant. with one another.
Our unison reading this morning is number 545 in the gray hymnal. Number 545. It is a poem by Langston Hughes. Please join me in reading. In time of silver rain, the earth puts forth new life again. Green grasses grow, and flowers lift their heads, and all over the plain the wonder spreads of life, of life, of life. In time of silver rain, the butterflies lift silken wings to catch a rainbow cry, and trees put forth new leaves to sing in joy beneath the sky, when spring and life are new.
Good morning. My name is Gloria Miller, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. Our story for all ages today is entitled The Everything Seed, A Story of Beginnings by, let me get it here, by Carol Martinago, and it's illustrated by Joy Troyer. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Have you ever noticed how it begins so small, so still, so quiet, like a gift wanting to be opened, and how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger and larger and larger? Then you know that whatever that comes from that seed usually ends up looking very little like the seed that it came from, which is also true of the very first seed. Once, long, long ago, way back before the beginning, and so long ago there was no such thing as time, because there was no one there to count it. Everywhere there was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun, no moon. There was no place like Earth, not a drop of water, or a single tree, or a rock, or a flower, and no living beings anywhere. But in that deep, waiting space was hidden the tiniest point of something no bigger than a seed. It was not a flower seed. It was not an elm tree seed. It was not a seed of corn, although all those things were included in the seed. You might call it an everything seed, because that is what it became. No one knows where that first seed came from, or how it was planted, or how it knew, in the way that only seeds seem to know, how long to wait for just the right moment to sprout and grow. But all at once, this tiny seed, cradled and nourished in the rich soil of space, woke up, broke open, and began to unfold, unfolding and blossoming forth into an enormous blazing ball of bright light, like a great grandmother sun. And the universe was born. Out fluttered the galaxies like a storm of snowflakes, swirling and gathering into the bright, blindingly beautiful clouds of stars. And out of those star clouds whirled our own star, the one we call the sun, and our earth, and our moon, and all the round spinning planets we have learned how to name. And this is the secret of that tiny seed. You and I were there in the very beginning. Just as the idea for each leaf on a big oak tree lies hidden inside an acorn. We were there with all the stars, the planets, all the rocks and oceans, plants and animals and people. Everything that is now, ever was, or ever will be, was inside that first seed. So whenever you hold a seed in your hand and wonder what it could become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from the tiniest speck of an everything seed, before it sprouted and grew long, long ago in the way back beginning of time. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this story of the universe keeps unfolding. What once began in a blazing blossom of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil of space. New plants and animals appear on the earth. Seeds of many kinds are scattered everywhere to help us remember. And new people are born every day with the spark of that first light still alive and burning deep inside, waiting like the everything seed to shine in ways that are yet to be known.
We have some seeds for you today. On that cart, there are some dishes with different herbs. I think it's mostly herbs. And there are some pots underneath. So if any of you feel moved, you may take a pot and choose a seed as we come and do our candles for joys and concerns. We will begin our time of joys and concerns by lighting our red candle of community. I know I usually light it, but will you? Thank you. We're crossing a little too much, and I'm robed, and that makes me awkward. Our red candle is the color of courage, the color of our warm spirits and our hearts. And as we light it, we think of all who are part of this congregation and all who are part of a larger community beyond these walls. We especially think of those of you who are watching from somewhere else or somewhen else in the future. We light our white candle for peace, for those all around the world who dwell under violence or the threat of violence, for Ukraine, for Gaza, and for so many other places. People who are unable to live fully free lives. We remind ourselves when we light this candle of our ongoing commitment to self-determination and the flourishing of all life, and we recommit ourselves to a world with more justice and more peace. Thank you. We also come today bearing all of the many things on our hearts, things from our lives, the lives of our loved ones, world events. We come bearing joys and sorrows, hopes and worries. Whatever it is you bring today, know that it is welcome here, because it is part of the fabric that makes up our lives. Whatever you have brought with you today, I invite you to bring it forward, to light a candle, and to allow us to help you hold it for a time and bear witness to what is on your heart. Remember that whatever you have brought, you are not alone. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. I'll set mine up here for the moment. We have the visual aid. Be all right. Before we do our prayer and song, I would like to offer an additional prayer. It's by Kathy Rion Starr, Reverend Starr, and I found it lovely. Please join with me. Spirit of spring and new life, spirit of decay and death, we turn to your wisdom and strength as we seek to live lives of meaning and love. The cycle of life is powerful. Everything that lives dies. Everything that dies has lived. There is no escaping this cycle. What then can we learn from its power? The leaves we put away in the fall are now compost, fertilizing the soil as we prepare to till the garden for this year's plantings. That harbinger of spring, the crocus, brings such delight and lasts but for a moment, and then it is gone, making way for the abundance of green and color that spring will bring. When one who was beloved dies, we cry, we mourn, we lament, and we carry them on in our hearts, seeking to live as they inspired us to live. As a child grows, we marvel at their unfolding into their own unique self. These lives we live hold so much beauty and so much pain, and we, like our ancestors across millennia, seek to live our lives fully. We seek love, we seek to appreciate beauty, we seek solace and healing. We seek to hold fast to the core goodness of this world and to amplify its abundance. We seek one another. Let us pause for a moment of silence, and may this silence be a time to honor what your heart seeks. May it be so, and amen, and blessed be. Please now join me. You may remain seated for our sung prayer, our meditation song, Spirit of Life.
The garden does not really belong to me. I belong to it, at least for the short time I'm here. Today I'm still in my slippers and have my first cup of coffee in hand. Much of what grows has been planted 2 or 3 homeowners ago. Some I've planted since our arrival, but if they belong to anyone or anything, the plants and flowering trees I come to see and smell, viburnum, dogwood, magnolia, and crabapple, belong to the sun and rain and soil. These living things are a beauty not of my making, though surely made of my desire. At the moment, the rose bushes are in full burst of red and perfume. The hydrangeas are sure to open their moppy heads as soon as the sun falls upon them. The weedy-looking globe thistles are turning lovely blue and spiky. The foxglove, however, rules the garden. Its central stalk is 5 feet high and heavy with pink, scoop-shaped blossoms and charming freckles inside. I am awed by the abundance. I'd intended to walk the garden simply to observe and wonder, But there's a weed that must be pulled, a stray stem that needs to be pruned, a blossom drooping and fading that should be snipped. So I set down my coffee cup on the back porch, and grab a small pail, and go to work. I end up with muddy hands, wet slippers, and a pail full of weeds and trimmings. Why can't I simply observe and wonder? Won't the beauty of my small garden world survive without me? I step back to the porch to retrieve my coffee, now cold, stamp the dew off my slippers, and take one look back at the garden before I return into the house. The garden is no more beautiful now than when I first arrived. My weed pulling, pruning, and snipping haven't really improved the garden, nor made that much of a difference as far as I know. It's like prayer. The words I speak don't really change anything, but I know they change me.
I certainly feel that I could stand up here any Sunday of the year and say, we are living in uncertain times, and everyone would nod. And for those of you who don't know my history, I entered the ministry during the first Trump administration, so I think for me it has been a career of we are in uncertain times. And I remind myself often that all times are actually uncertain, that there have been many moments that people have risen to meet throughout history. But these times are ours, are mine, are yours, and we are called to meet this moment, not all those other moments. And so in spring, when things are emerging, what is it in you that needs to emerge, to seek the light and expand? What is it in you that needs to be nurtured, watered, and fed? What in you is tender and new and only just now unfolding into something tangible in these uncertain times? Last year, many of you may remember, but I know everyone wasn't here and we have visitors. Last year we did wildflowers and we molded them into balls and we spread them to spread beauty and joy in our world. This year feels different. This year we have some herbs, which is meeting, I think, my impulse for something useful and practical and tangible, but is nevertheless a source of delight and joy at the same time. They are flavorful, they're also beautiful, often medicinal. They offer us beauty and joy, but also healing and wellness, all these things arising from the same tiny seeds. I chose basil because basil leads to pesto. We'll see. All of this might make you believe that I am a gardener, and I am not, but I try every year. That's my spring impulse, is I'm going to grow something this year, and I usually don't, but we're going to try it. Basil gives freshness and savor. It also adds beauty to your garden. It's full of antioxidants and vitamins. It's anti-inflammatory. In the ancient world, it was thought to inspire love or lust, which gives a new meaning to pesto. It was thought to be protective. It was thought to be a source of blessings. And there are some religious traditions that use sprigs of basil to distribute holy water, even now. That is a mighty list for a tiny, tiny seed. Flowers, too, are edible and often medicinal, and yes, they too have histories of spiritual and mystical application. But this year, it is earthy, practical herbs that are speaking to me. I loved spreading those wildflowers last year, but this year I'm thinking a little bit more about resilience, about taking care of myself in ways to make me more resilient so that I can do more. I feel like this time around, what I have to give isn't quite as accessible. I have to dig a little bit deeper to draw up what I need to draw up, to do the things I want to do, and I am pulled in so many different directions right now. I imagine many of us feel the same. So for me, this year feels more like a both and. What do I need and what does the world need? What can I grow? Not only to be beautiful and joyful, but also useful and perhaps medicinal and healing in a world that needs it. What can I do to heal the world? What can I nurture in the world? And what must I nurture in myself to be in that for the long haul? It's okay not to know the answers to these things. Spring is only just now springing, and spring is always inherently an uncertain time. The world becomes green, but crops aren't ready for quite some time yet. They may not even be sown, depending on where you live. We have made it through a winter, but we have not made it to abundant harvest. There is much yet still to do, and there is still time for things to unfold in unexpected ways. So right now at this moment, there's no way we could have all the answers. And for that matter, if we don't have all those answers now about who we need or want to be and how we need to grow into it, there are other springs. There will always be other springs. Spring's promise of renewal keeps coming back around, offering more or different opportunities to us year to year. Spring is always the time to ask the question. Spring is the time to think about many possible answers. What can I grow? What in me needs to be nurtured so that I can grow strong and true? And what is it that could unfold in me that I might offer it to the world? I'm going to offer one of the same sources I used last year thinking about flowers because it remains true and it continues to speak to me in spring. And this is from the writings of Hope Jarin, who's an American geochemist and geobiologist who has done quite a lot of studying of seeds. A seed knows how to wait. Most seeds wait for years before starting to grow. A cherry seed can wait 100 years with no problem. What exactly each seed is waiting for is known only to that seed. Some unique trigger combination, temperature, moisture, light, and many other things is required to convince a seed to jump off the deep end and take its chance, to take its one and only chance to grow. When the embryo within a seed starts to grow, it just stretches out of its doubled over waiting posture, elongating into official ownership of the form that it assumed years ago. The hard coat that surrounds a peach pit, a sesame or mustard seed, or a walnut shell mostly exists to prevent this expansion. In the laboratory, we simply scratch the hard coat and add a little water, and it'll make almost any seed grow. I must have cracked thousands of seeds over the years, and yet the next day's green never fails to amaze me. Something so hard can be so easy if you just have a little help. In the right place, under the right conditions, you can finally stretch out into what you're supposed to be. Each beginning is the end of a waiting, she writes. We are each given one chance to be. Each of us is both impossible and inevitable. Every replete tree was first a seed that waited. I think it's difficult for most of us in ministry right now to think about that balance between, oh my gosh, the world is on fire, and also we need to tend to our hearts and spirits because that's what we are here in this place on a Sunday morning to do, both of those things. And I know that the world is in utter chaos at the moment, and I know that there is both overwhelm and a terrible sense of urgency. We have to do everything, and we have to do it now. But perhaps some of us who have been hesitating, frozen, paused in a moment of confusion or indecision, maybe we're waiting like a seed for that moment when we say, aha, this is the thing I need to grow into. And I think we all have within us the capacity to ask that question, what is it that I am waiting for? What in me needs to be nurtured, and what are the conditions that the calling within me is longing for? And I think we need to learn how to ask for those things, which is a very, very difficult thing for many of us to do. To say, I need someone to listen while I try to understand this thing inside of me. To say that I need help figuring it out, or that I need support in the process. I will say that I know some of us have not been waiting. Some of us are fully formed and active and out there doing all the things, and bless you, you lucky people. Some of us are still figuring it out. And seeds unfold in their own time. Spring's promise of hope is not a promise of certainty. It's a promise of opportunity, but it comes with contingencies. It comes with ifs, thens. But being embedded in the turning of the wheel reminds us that nothing is forever. The only constant is change. And that we have the power to some extent, some of us more than others, but all of us to some extent have the power to choose what our role in that change might be. And we have the power to grow into that role and to embody it going forward. And so for those of you who have seeds, take a moment to ponder them. For those of you who have gardens waiting for you at home, you can close your eyes and go to that place. And for those of you who perhaps are aware of less tangible seeds, something more like a hope or a dream, take a breath. Imagine that small, curled up, tightly wound seed, nestled somewhere dark and safe. Maybe in that safe space, we as seeds are sleeping and waiting. Or maybe we're relaxed and waiting. Something inside says it's time to unfold, to seek something. Maybe we know what we're seeking, maybe we don't. But before we can unfurl all the way, before we can be tall, we need to be strong. What do we need to wake up and grow? If you were a seed feeling the tug of gravity and sent your roots down, what would they be seeking? Water, cool moisture, nutrients. In that seeking, your roots would spread to form a network of roots with the plants all around you. In that seeking, our roots find stability. We are held by the earth, even as we hold the earth. As our roots stretch out, we also push upward. What draws us there? Sunlight and warmth, hope, the urge to seek challenge. How do we unfold? How do we emerge and reach for something greater than ourselves? Do you have a sense of what is calling you forth? Rooted and reaching, grounded, yet still in the process of becoming. There is work happening invisibly, slowly, that will only become visible with time and with patience. Take a moment in silence to imagine what it is you need, you as an individual seed, in terms of nourishment and support, so that you might grow and become your full, whole, and entire self. May we all begin to sense the call to challenge and also begin to know what we need to rise to meet those challenges in these times. Today we are sharing our offering. We do that once a month. We share half the plate, half of everything given goes to an organization that is connected to us, that works alongside us, that lives out the values that we live out. This month, we are giving to Armand Bayou Nature Center, and I'd like to invite Tim forward to tell us about it. Tim and Peter. We're working on it. We'll get up here.
I'm Peter Bowman. I'm co-lead with Lou Geiger for Green Sanctuary, and it's my pleasure to introduce Tim Pilot today. Tim is in his 7th year as CEO of Armored Bayou Nature Center. And since I've lost my notes, I will let him continue to introduce himself.
Good morning, friends. How are y'all this morning? Good. I was telling Reverend Katie that often when I'm asked to speak in public, I'm speaking about our slithery friends. I'm sort of the resident snake expert, but I thought the image of a person standing in the pulpit with a 5-foot rat snake around his shoulders might give your visitors the wrong impression. So I did not bring any snakes with me today, but if you come out to the Nature Center, I'll be glad to introduce you to some of them. So for those of you who are not familiar with Armand Bayou Nature Center, we are one of the largest urban wilderness preserves in the United States. We're very excited to share that as of December 16th, 2024, just a few months ago, that Armand Bayou Nature Center just acquired an additional 1,145 acres, formerly known as formerly known as the Clear Lake Oil Field for the purposes of conservation, and now we are at 4,000 acres here in Armand Bayou. And we're very excited to begin the process of restoring that land from being oil field back to its original glory as a Texas coastal tall grass prairie. So lots of great work. As I mentioned, Armand Bayou Nature Center is an urban wilderness. It's not often that you hear the words urban and wilderness in the same sentence, but we are indeed surrounded by, to our north, the petrochemical complex in Bayport. To our south, we have NASA and the University of Houston Clear Lake. And then to our east and west, we have thousands of residential neighborhoods. Some of you might be our neighbors. Yet when you find yourself in the midst of the Armand Bayou Nature Center Preserve, it's hard to imagine that you're in the 3rd most populous county in the United States. So I encourage you to come and share that with us. Our mission at Armand Bayou Nature Center is twofold. First of all is to preserve these beautiful habitats with which we've been entrusted. And then secondly, to educate the public about why these habitats are so important to each and every one of us. Armand Bayou Nature Center has just celebrated its 50th anniversary just this year. And if you haven't visited ABNC in a while, returning visitors will be pleasantly surprised to see many new features. If you have not been by the new entrance of the Nature Center recently, the 50-foot Corten steel alligator out front is the best selfie in town. I recommend stopping by. We have a brand new welcome center that will introduce children and adults alike to all the wonders of the Nature Center before they go out exploring. Lots of neat tactile and visual and audio displays for adults and kids to learn more about our natural world. And then we've just refurbished our Environmental Learning Center where you can meet the menagerie of ambassador animals that make their home at Armand Bayou, baby alligators and possums and snakes, and of course our world famous bison that are there at the Nature Center. So lots of wonderful programs, eco-education programs for 18 months old all the way up to graduate level research programs. We have kayak and pontoon boat tours, night hikes, bat hikes, firefly hikes, et cetera, et cetera. That's all about the education, but the preservation that we do is restoring and preserving 3 habitats that were once dominant along the Texas Gulf Coast, that Texas coastal prairie, those meandering bayous that wind their way through the landscape, and then of course the riparian forests that line those bayous. We like to say that we are the most beautiful bayou in town. Every other bayou in town, Buffalo Bayou, Braves Bayou, Sims, we're in the Bayou City, right? All those other bayous have been channelized and straightened and concreted and altered and diverted and otherwise somehow changed in the name of flood control. The trees have been chopped down in the name of development. But at Armand Bayou Nature Center, when you come to visit the bayou, you will find yourself in a bayou that looks just like it did in its very beginnings. And so coming to Armand Bayou Nature Center is like taking a trip back in time. And it really is an opportunity to view our ecological heritage. So please do come and visit with us and give us an opportunity to show you around and introduce you to the many, many wonderful things about the Nature Center. Thank you very much for your time today, and we're very, very grateful.
Guess what? I found my notes. Tim has more than 25 years of experience in the nonprofit sector and has served in leadership positions in the former Soviet Union, Lebanon, Afghanistan, and the United States. In addition, Tim spent several years teaching in the United States and in Ukraine as a Peace Corpsman, where he became fluent in Russian. He holds a bachelor's degree from Sam Houston State University and a master's of education from the University of Texas, El Paso.
At the conference this weekend, the Southwest UU women spoke of pilgrimage, and I'm thinking that this is in its way a pilgrimage. Even if it's a very short one, it's a deep one. So please give as generously as you are able, and half of what you give this morning will go to support their work. Thank you.
Thank you, choir. And now we bless our offering by saying together the words printed and on the slide. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. Thank you. And now for announcements. Get comfortable. Oh, we are going to sing. We'll do it. It's on me. We know this one. To you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. That's our brand new version. Thank you. Now, stay comfortable, and we're going to have announcements. Now, if you haven't turned your pledge in for the fiscal year for 2025 and 26, please be sure to do it soon. As of Friday, we've received about 61% of the expected pledges, and we're about 1/3 of the way from our goal of $410,000. Turning in your pledge allows us to estimate what our income will be in the upcoming fiscal year, and your pledge lets us budget what programs and activities we'll be able to fund. So please be sure to turn it in as soon as you can so we can plan that budget for next fiscal year. You can turn it in online by using the code, or you can fill out a pledge form right up there at the table when you came in. We also have some pledge forms available. Just fill it out and drop it in the box. And we want to tell you again about Tuesday. On Tuesday, March 25th at 6:30 p.m., Hispanics Advancing Culture and Education will host a Know Your Rights town hall meeting. This meeting will help to ensure that all people are aware of their constitutional rights, regardless of immigration status. This is an opportunity to connect with the community in a meaningful way. Attorneys and other knowledgeable individuals will be present to answer questions regarding legal and community resources. So your participation is vital in strengthening our collective resilience. If you'd like to volunteer to help, please contact the church office. And young adults. All young adults aged 18 to 35 are invited to join the young adult group for a Creator Night on Saturday, March 29th from 7 to 9 p.m. in Cockrell Hall. Snacks and drinks will be provided. Please bring a craft or a project like painting or knitting or Legos to work on. And if you can, supplies for one other person to join you in your activity. And we'll also have a variety of puzzles available, so we hope to see you there. The garage and plant sale preparations start next Sunday. You can drop off your donations at Cockrell Hall after the congregational meeting next week, but please not before. Donations will be accepted through noon on Wednesday, April 2nd. Volunteers will be working every day next week, sorting and displaying and pricing items. It is huge. It takes over our whole campus. Please plan to help with those tasks, as well as working during the sale. We have some dedicated volunteers who will need a break, so all volunteers are appreciated. If you can't help with the sale, bring some snacks and help keep the volunteers going strong. Please start advertising the sale on social media accounts. See Tuesday's email blast for suggested wording. There is a sign up in Cockrell Hall for a chart of shifts, or you can drop by as you're available. So next Sunday, be sure to stay after the service for our quarterly congregational meeting. We'll have updates from the treasurer, religious education, building and grounds. We'll discuss plans for the road and other agenda items. The meeting's held right here in the sanctuary, and you don't have to be a member to stay for the meeting, and everybody is welcome. And after the service today, around 12:15, we're excited to invite all new members and visitors. We've got lots of visitors today to join Reverend Katie for a special opportunity to connect over coffee in the church library. If you're a visitor or a new member of the church, we invite you to stop by and get to know our minister and our church a little bit better. This afternoon at 2 p.m., BAUUC is pleased to host the monthly gatherings of the Clear Lake Small Group Meeting of PFLAG. This group meets on the fourth Sunday of every month in the church sanctuary. PFLAG is the pioneering organization dedicated to supporting, educating, and advocating for LGBTQ+ individuals and their families. Please join us in keeping families united in loving bonds, fostering understanding, and embracing their gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and questioning family members. I'll be there. I'm a newly trained facilitator. Yay. And all of those announcements are just a few of the things happening in the upcoming week. So be sure to check the weekly email blast for all of the upcoming events at BAUUC. If you're not already on our email list, stay connected by subscribing. We send out an email every Tuesday, and it's packed with news and sometimes updates about dinner on Wednesday and all kinds of stuff that might not have even made it into the worship service, the order of service. And you can use that QR code. We had a QR code on the screen to visit BAUUC.org or sign up today. And immediately after today's service, as always, everyone is invited to join us in Cockrell Hall to mingle over coffee and enjoy light snacks. So join us and let's come together and share some quality time together as a community. And now our closing song. We will sing together, "We Shall Be Known." Yes, we're still learning.
May the turning of the seasons hold blessings for you. May the upswelling life of spring make way to the steady growth of summer, which leads to rich harvests, abundant life, and then the gentle rest of winter's turn. And may that rest of winter empower you for the renewal of spring again and the bursting forth of new life. Go in peace. Blessed be.